What's up, college football fans and Mean Green fans? Sonoy Valente here once again with the Mean Green Show, and I'm joined by Miles, who runs up the North Texas Sport Network. And Miles, thank you so much for joining in today and talking about all things that you saw at the scrimmage. And guys, before we get into all things North Texas football, you guys already know the drill. If you're a fan of college football recruiting, the transfer portal, G5 football, or any or all of the above, consider hitting that like and subscribe button because that is sincerely all that we talk about. Miles, how's it going, man? We're really edging to. I mean, we're really getting in the thick of things. We're almost to the season, man. How are you feeling? What's the excitement level like? I mean, just like what are the emotions that are going through your heart and soul right now?
Well, I mean, I tried to watch practice Monday. I got to watch Saturday's scrimmage, most of it, I'm very excited. About May, my excitement level was kind of low because I didn't have much expectations because I didn't see a lot of spring ball and basketball is doing so well. I was like, well, I feel like this might be a down year again. But continuing through the summer and now the past few weeks, I'm very excited. I really think this team is talented, more talented than we've had under Seth Luttrell because we have all the pieces and now the coaches are here and I just think we have the right we're not really we don't have a lot of pressure on us. And Coach Luttrell even talked about that yesterday. He said there's not a lot of pressure on us and we can just go out there and perform the way we should and I think we can run the table in many games.
That's exciting to hear. Obviously, I mean, kind of speaking from an outsider looking in, it seems like Coach Luttrell definitely never lacks in confidence, which is good. You don't want a shaky, head coach by any means. But all right, so jumping right into the scrimmage and what you saw yesterday, how much of the scrimmage? I mean, how much of a scrimmage did you see? And did you see it in the indoor facility, or did you see it? Did they do that part of the scrimmage at Apogee?
So they were practicing. I got there about 10 o'clock. It said it was start at 11. I'm glad I didn't get there at 11 because I would have only seen about 30, 45 minutes. But I got there at 10. They were just done with warm-ups, getting into just the reps and all what they were doing to start the scrimmage. And we were there for about 45 minutes to an hour, and then it started raining. So we went in the indoor practice facility and saw the rest of the scrimmage. And I saw a lot of good stuff. I have like a whole 2 pages worth of what I saw, and it was very exciting. It was very exciting to see them scrimmage each other because they were very into it with each other, cussing each other out, really physical. It was something that I like to see, and I feel like it's the chemistry has changed over the past 2 years, in my opinion.
All right, so let's save probably the most anticipated, position for discussion in the quarterback for later on, maybe towards the last bit. But
Mm.
talking on the receivers first, who would you say stuck out to you the most? Any surprises? Any, I mean, just kind of what did you see from the receivers?
Well, when I saw it was the first string offense, it looked like it was Shorter, Simpson, and Thompson in the slot, which was kind of expected on my end. And with
So you
Jake
said
Roberts
Shorter,
and
Simpson,
Pearl,
and Thompson. Those
yeah,
were your.
Shorter and Simpson on the each side on the outside, and then Thompson in the slot with Roberts slash Pirtle. They were kind of switching off on the first team. But a player who stood out was Tommy Bush. I mean, he had 2 great catches. He had a great pass. He had a great catch in the corner of the end zone against, I'm pretty sure it was Quinn Whitlock. Later in practice, I think it was by Ani who threw that pass, and he really did play really well. Um,
How does
Jair
he
had
look
this
compared to
one.
the other receivers? Bush, that is. I mean, does he look different? I mean, just the eye test
Bush
wise.
going up against the people he was up on defense, he was massive, and he made a great. It was like almost like a standing, like jump standing catch. But compared to others, I mean, Shorter had a few plays that were pretty solid, but he also came off a little bit limping with a one catch against John Davis. John Davis is someone I think could really be the one of our best cornerbacks. But really, I think everybody looked great on the receiving end. Roderick Burns was another guy who was playing slot in the second team. I found that kind of interesting because last year him, Greg White, and Austin Agumican kind of had a
Mhm.
little bit too many drops. But I mean, if he's doing what he's doing right now, if it's good, I think he's on the spot. But that was more second team. And Bush was kind of switching back and forth with first and second. And really, I mean, first and second really
Yeah.
didn't matter that much. I mean,
Right.
you can't
Right.
take away that much.
No.
But there was certainly some interesting stuff to take away from. how the wide receivers did. And Torrey. DeAndre Torrey is more of a catching running back. He's like in the flat a lot more, sometimes in the slot. He's been kind of transformed into that more receiving running back role instead of just a solid running back like Oscar Attaway.
Does he go out into the slot? I mean, did you see a lot of that, or was he mostly
He had a
getting?
lot of screen passes, a lot of passes in the flat. He had a lot of good plays too. I think Reuter hit him a few times in the on a screenplay. But he looks really good. He looked really comfortable in that role. I wasn't really expecting him to be that comfortable like he is right now, because I know he used to return. I think he is still returning kicks, because his first year here he was a main kick returner until
Right.
Lauren Easley got injured that year. But I mean, he looked really, really comfortable in that role, and I think he can really flourish. Because if we do ever, I don't know if we will, but have a two-back set with Attaway on one side, Torrey on the other, that's really dangerous. I mean, that's
Yeah.
like a two-headed monster, and that's hard to stop because both of them are so physical. I think Attaway is more of a true running back, unlike Torrey. But that's no offense to Torrey. But
Right.
it was very interesting to see, and when Brett wrote about it about a month or two ago, I was like, huh. I mean, I kind of expected it, but I didn't expect him to really grow into that role as much as he has.
Did Lorenzo Thompson get in the mix at all? Any catches?
Yeah, he had a few catches. I didn't really see a whole lot of what he was doing. I just know he was in the slot a lot. They
Yeah.
were hitting Tommy Bush and Shorter. They were going for the sidelines a lot more than I expected, because that's what Ani would do a lot, was go to the sidelines with Darden and whoever
Right.
was on the outside with Simpson. But that was during last year. So far, they've been hitting the outside. Bush, Shorter, Simpson sometimes on the outside. Bryson Jackson, some other guys like that. Were kind of, they were throwing a lot more deep balls than I thought. And then when you got to the second team, it was more handoff with Ikea Ragsdale, Keith Jackson, those guys like that.
Do we see any Caleb Johnson sightings?
He was in the slot a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, he's so talented. I mean, how can he not just completely perform at a high level in his first year here? So, I mean, if he was, I don't think he was really playing defensive back. I don't remember him at defensive back, so I don't think he is. But seems like everybody's doing great in their position on offense.
Awesome. So focusing a little bit more on the tight ends for just a little bit longer. So Jake Roberts, how did he look? I mean, was he more involved in the pass game? What did you see from Jake Roberts that you liked?
Well, I mean, he's more of a pass catching back, in my opinion. I mean, the whole tight end room looked great yesterday. I mean, no offense to Pirtle here, but sure. I just think Jake Roberts is our future, mainly at tight end, because he's so versatile at what he can do. He had a great, it was like a 7-yard catch, and it was a great pass by Reuter. He's really broken into that role that he can be the really reliable tight end. I think he can be a top tight end in the conference. He's only a, is he a freshman or is he?
I don't know with all this super year stuff. So he at least has 3 years, if not 4.
Yeah, it's really throwing me off. So I don't. Yeah, I'm not quite for sure, but I just know that he's so very talented. And another guy, Varkeys Gums, and everybody.
Yeah, how did Varkeys look?
People around me were like, "Wow, he is blocking, very physical." And he was running with the second. Does he
look? How much does he look size wise? Like as big as Jake Roberts? Like what is?
No. Jake is massive, but Varkeys is so physical, and they were doing a lot of pitches, and I played offensive line. I should know this. It's not like a hitch. I don't know. It's like a swing with the tight end that goes around. He was really physical on that. He leveled someone and I think Keith Jackson took like a 10-15 yard run. I mean, he was very physical, and it was he's standing out a lot, because Will and some other people were like, wow, they were pointing to him, look at this guy. He's like really physical. And it was very cool to see, because he's a freshman. He's a freshman.
Yeah.
And
fresh out of high school.
I don't think he'll get, he might play on special teams or something like that.
Sure.
But that's very promising. It's very promising to see that he is really growing into a more blocking, run block, pass block role.
Yeah. That'll be exciting. Running back wise, so it was Oscar Attaway was the main guy, and then you said Ikea Ragsdale. Was he the primary backup?
It was a Torrey Attaway for first team, and then it was like Ragsdale Attaway. It was a really big mix, but
Yeah.
Ragsdale was more second team.
Yeah.
And then Keith Jackson, I'm pretty sure, had a little bit of touches as well. So
Yeah.
they're really that room is so deep.
Yeah.
And with Torrey gone next year, I think Attaway is going to completely burst into a very, very top end Conference USA running back.
Yeah.
Even in the group of 5,
Yeah.
he had Dawson. Okay, so this number 44. I can't really pronounce his name. It's really hard to pronounce. But he was running with third strings with Case and Martin and Bryce Drummond.
Mhm.
And the offensive line really helped, but he was really making some good runs. And it was kind of interesting because I hadn't really seen him play before because I don't usually go to practices until this year. And
Right.
it just shows how deep and how great Coach Cobbs has developed some of these guys. Because just 3 years ago, there was only 2 running backs. It was Nick
Yeah.
Smith and Jeff Wilson.
Yeah.
And you can't rely on just one other running back. So it just shows how much progress they've had, and they're all very physical. It's very good to see. And Isaiah Johnson as well. That was another guy I forgot to mention. Isaiah Johnson from
Wow.
I think Lubbock, pretty
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I think. All right, switching things over to the defensive side of the ball. Defensive line, what did you see? What did you like? Who stood out? What's the rundown on the D line from
The
yesterday?
interior on the defensive line is getting so. I mean, it's so deep. There are
Yeah.
guys that 3 down could really play and be very significant on defense. Enoch
Was it
Jackson.
predominantly a 4 down front yesterday?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It was
Who
it
was
was
our guys?
it was you had Noville in the middle. Now Noville had like 1 or 2 offsides, and Bennett ripped into him. But Noville looked much better. He slimmed down about, I think he said 20 to like 315,
Yeah.
310. He looked very good after not playing in the spring.
Right.
And of course the Murphy twins on the outside. They of course were disrupting a lot of plays that Reuter and Ani had, because Reuter, if this is a real game, he would have got leveled. I don't know if it
Mhm.
was by Murphy, but it was by someone, and he would have got leveled. And it just shows how they've gotten so much bigger than they have in the past. In
Mhm.
2019 Houston game, Houston's rotating players, and we had no rotations behind us. And this year, I think we have the rotations behind us to like put like a Tyshawn Johnson and Calvin Hutchins at defensive tackle, and Noville get a rest, and then it still works out. So it just shows how deep and talented they are.
Yeah.
Guys like Devontae McRae, who did have a down year last year, really has been more of a figure. And I think with the four down linemen, it really helps because when you have only rushing 3 people, you can't do a whole
Right.
lot, and you can't get a lot of
Right.
impact. Even though the Murphy twins somehow still made impact.
Yeah.
So, but it's very fun. They're very fun to watch, and it just shows that the interior of the defensive line is going to be a big problem for other teams' offensive lines. Mainly if Noville can stay healthy the entire year, and the edges really put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. Noville can get 6, 7 sacks this year if they
For an
put
interior
pressure on the edge.
defensive lineman, that would be insane. So the main 4 running with the ones were the Murphy twins, Noville, and was the other one Enoch?
I'm pretty sure it was Enoch. It was kind of hard to tell because I was sitting in the end zone, and
Right.
there's the 2 linebackers, Katie Davis, Larry Nixon. Tyreek Davis was not really playing a traditional
Mhm.
linebacker. I think he talked with. I don't know if he talked with Kyle. If Caleb talked with you, or was it Matthew Bruni? I think it was Matthew about
Yeah.
Tyreek's position and how he would be lined up. And he's not really playing the traditional linebacker spot, but I couldn't really tell, but I know that it was those 3 guys for sure on the first team, and guys like McRae and Johnson. Really, they all really shined, and it was very very promising to see. Um, I had it right here. Yeah, it was Rod Brown was another guy. He kind of
Is he
put
the
significant.
freshman?
He's the freshman that was committed to Army and then committed to here. He
He
was
was doing
someone that
well?
more second team reps, but yeah, he was
Yeah.
doing well in the middle. And it's really this the middle guys, Enoch Jackson, Noville, and other guys like that. Hutchins
Yeah.
and Johnson really did perform well, and
Yeah.
they've been doing it over the past few weeks. So that's very
Yeah.
promising to hear.
That's exciting stuff. Very exciting stuff. Well, okay, defensive back wise, corners. I mean, who did anybody? I mean, how do we look from just as a whole, as a unit there, as far as yesterday went?
Well, John Davis looked really good, and he was a transfer from Texas Tech. And
Right.
last year it was just a down year, and I don't think they were coached very well last year because now their talent is really it's being exploited by Coach Holly and Coach Bennett, because mainly Coach Bennett. He's getting onto them every play that they do wrong.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting onto them, and that's what they needed because it's a very undisciplined secondary last year.
Mm-hmm.
But Gaddy looks like he's going to be another all-star. A thing I did notice was Upton Stout was not. I know first team didn't really matter, but
Right.
Upton Stout was not really with the first string guys that I would think that are first string. So that was
Right.
something interesting that I saw. And he also had an injury over spring ball, so maybe he's still recovering from that. I don't know.
Right.
I just know that John Davis looked good, and Michael Sanders and really all the guys who were playing back there did pretty well. John Davis against Jair Shorter was very fun to watch because
Yeah.
it was very physical. I don't know why they're throwing it to him so much, to Shorter so much. I mean, he's a great receiver, and they were
Yeah.
going a lot of sideline deep balls, and it was very promising to see that those guys were breaking up passes from Shorter. Shorter had one where it was in his hands, and Davis deflects it right out of his hands. It was very promising to see that. So, and then younger guys like Harold West and Jordan Brown's more of a linebacker-ish, but the younger guys have really been shining a lot through fall camp.
Yeah. All right. So shifting it back to the offense, to probably what the most anticipated battle is, this offseason, and that is none other than the quarterback battle between Austin Aune and Jace Ruder. What did you see? Were there any surprises? Just kind of give us the rundown and of the quarterback play of yesterday, if you would.
Yeah, at the beginning, Aune was more repping the first string type offense, but then Jace Ruder in the indoor practice facility was just balling. I mean, he was really what I expected him to be, because I was at Monday, and Ruder's more second string, and he just didn't look as good. But today he looked great. I mean, yesterday he looked great. He had a 75-yard touchdown to end the whole scrimmage. That was really, I mean, he turned on the Jets, and that's very promising to see, because having a guy that has mobility like him, not like a Jason Bean mobility, because that's really hard to find in a quarterback, but having that as a more of a dual threat would really help us this year, mainly with that schedule, because we're playing teams that have massive defensive linemen, and that's going to be a big part of our offensive game, in my opinion, because running the ball to the outsides is going to be something that we have to really get better at, because we've sucked at running the ball to the outside, throwing balls in the flat. Because Darden's not here anymore, so you can't just rely on throwing the ball in the flat and Darden making some shifty play and getting a first down. Now you have to really create more offense, and then the offensive line, I think, can. But it was very nice seeing Ruder really play very well compared to what I saw before.
So who do you think starts game one?
Oh man,
That's a tough one.
Nah, that's really tough. I mean, I want to say Ruder, but I just feel like we're gonna put Aune in there to start.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we
I'm
see
obviously
Ruder.
they'll both play game one along
They'll
with
both
pretty much
play game one,
We'll probably even
unless
see.
we're somehow like losing, which I don't think that will
we
happen.
Can't.
No. Yeah, this team can't do that. But I think we'll see half of them, and then however well they play, I guess, will depend on how they start. Who starts against SMU? Because that SMU game really shows. It goes from, oh yeah, you're just you're getting reps in, to you're playing against some of the top defensive players in the group of five and in the nation. And SMU loaded up. They got Isaac Slade. Oh man, his last name is very strange, but from Oregon, it's a linebacker.
Yeah.
They're just massive.
I think it's Maltautia, I think is his last name.
Yeah, and that's really going to really show how they can play down the line. Not every team plays SMU, but it shows that how they can handle adversity, because I guarantee we're not going to be, winning by double digits in that game at all. And unless I hope they do, but I just don't see that happening.
Yeah.
But it will be very interesting to see who starts against SMU, because I just think Northwestern State, whoever runs out there first time, doesn't matter that much, because it can completely change. And that happened last year, and I hope it didn't. We don't have the rotations at quarterback, but I think we just see who can perform at a higher level, and then we see them against SMU. Whoever sucks probably won't play the rest of the year, hopefully, unless an injury happens. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out in the next few weeks because they both look good. I think Reuter should start,
Yeah.
but I think we see Ani out there unless Reuter just completely tears it open in the next few weeks.
Did Reuter look pretty good just passing it around? Like, was he like doing multiple reads? How did he look as far as like the passing game goes specifically?
I thought he looked really good passing compared to what I saw the before.
Yeah.
Um, I Ani had a few more deep balls than I thought,
Hmm.
but than Reuter. But he looked great. He had great passes to Roberts and Simpson, more sideline catches. They were throwing to the sideline a lot, but yeah, he has the weapons, and he just has to put it on the money because they're gonna get open. Lorenzo Thompson's fast. Shorter and Simpson are very physical and fast. So I mean, it's going to be hard for him to not hard for any quarterback not to succeed. Mainly Ani. I mean, he's had a year under the system with basically the same receivers except for Darden. So it's going to be hard for them not to succeed. But once they get to game time, we'll see.
Yeah. Very exciting stuff. Do you feel better going into conference play after seeing the scrimmage yesterday, or are you still? What
I
are
think
your
we
what are your thoughts on
that's
conference play as of
that
now?
6 game stretch that we have and really conference play. I think we can run the table in conference. I mean, UAB is still a good team, but it's at home, and
Yeah.
I think if
If we
we hit
could
like
mount
if we
that,
even keep close with SMU, because
uh-huh.
here's the thing. Here's the thing
What
about
is
this.
close though? What is close? Sincerely, is 17 points close? I mean,
Yeah, compared to the
that's
past
not
few years, 13
bad. I
points
mean,
is
I
close.
mean, like, yeah, like a 21-38 score. I mean, that's kind of
I would love that. But here's the thing:
yeah.
Phil Bennett
Or we could
was the
win.
coach
Yeah.
there. Phil Bennett was
Yeah.
the coach there, and I know he does not want to get embarrassed on the
Hmm.
field that he lost quite a few games
Yeah.
at Ford Stadium. So he's not going to go out there and try to be playing. He's going to have those guys fired up, and
Yeah.
that's something that I think can really help them get close. I don't
Yeah.
think they're going to win. I think they can get close, and because I would hate to have been a head coach there for like 5 6 years and then get fired, go back there
Hmm.
and get just embarrassed
Hmm.
on
Hmm.
on the field that you coached at. So
Hmm.
I think he really puts a lot of fire in them, and they should have fire. Last year's loss was embarrassing. I mean,
Yeah.
65 points hung on you in 3.5 quarters because
Yeah.
they only scored one touchdown in this fourth quarter. So that's something I think motivation really gets to them and keeps it close. But conference play, I mean, Louisiana Tech is good, and
Yeah.
Southern Miss and all those teams are good, but I think we could really if we get in there on a roll, I think we can really tear it up, and not like
Yeah.
in a really good, like we're undefeated, but better than we have in the past, and it all depends on how we start. If we start bad, then the season's
Yeah.
over.
Well, one thing that could maybe help us is as far as UAB goes, before they play us, they go to Athens to play at Georgia.
Mhm.
Then they come to us to to Denton to play North Texas. So that's 2 road games. I mean, obviously, no, that's not a
They're
slight
playing
to you.
three. They're playing 3 road games in a row. They're playing 4 road games in a row. They're playing at Tulane after us. They play
Hmm.
Georgia, and then they play Jacksonville State at a neutral site. So they don't play a home game until October,
I think
and that
Jacksonville
could
State
benefit
is
us.
September 1st.
It's a Wednesday night game in like the Crampton Bowl, somewhere in like the South, like in Mississippi, Alabama, and
Okay.
it's a neutral site. So they don't play a home game. It's against Liberty. Funny. Uh,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They open
on
up that new
October
stadium.
2nd. Yeah,
Yeah.
so they don't play a home game for a month. And that
Hmm.
after 2 straight, that's tough. Playing
Yeah.
3 straight road games is tough. That's why I'm saying we can sneak up on them because
Yeah.
we play
Maybe.
at SMU. SMU is basically a home game. I mean,
Yeah. It's not a
just we
bad
suck.
commute at all.
For some reason we suck playing there, but it gives me hope. And playing at
Hmm.
Georgia, you're gonna get some
Yeah.
injuries.
You're
You're
gonna
gonna
get your
get
head
roughed
handed to
up a
you, and
lot.
that's not a slight to them. That
Exactly.
the same with pretty much any Conference USA team would go up to Georgia and get killed. So yeah, they'll be coming off a pretty you know hearty loss more than likely. So yeah, I mean, there could be something there. If we could shock them, that would help
Hmm.
the momentum. So the UAB, I think the UAB game just got a little bit more serious because of
It
you.
really does. It really,
Yeah.
yeah, because of me.
That's cool. That man, there is a lot of anticipation. I know about this season. There's a lot. I mean, there's not. I don't know. I wouldn't say there is pressure. I wouldn't say there's not pressure. I mean, probably the expectations aren't very high, which is kind of good. But there's always high. I would say always high pressure for North Texas just because of geographically where we are. Blah blah blah. But well, cool, man. I guess does that pretty much sum it up as far as the scrimmage goes. Anything else that?
I mean, let me look back what I had. I mean, guys like Larry Nixon's kind of stood out a little bit more.
Good.
I mean, this linebacker's getting better is something I need because last year, I mean, I know COVID kind of took over the linebacking group a little bit, and Kyle Powell was playing, but no, that was no shot there. But
did Kyle Powell get in yesterday? Did you see Kyle Powell play?
Yeah, he's
That's
playing
awesome.
with second teams. Yeah,
yeah,
and,
dude, he's a G.
But it's just the depth is just incredible, and I didn't mention offensive line. Turpin, the offensive line, the starting offensive line, I would think would be Brammer right tackle. Now, Mose was not playing yesterday due to an injury. I don't know what it was. It was something, and so it was Brammer.
Do you know if it's serious
Duncan,
by any chance? I mean, do you know like the severity? Oh gosh, I hope it's not serious.
Coach didn't say, but I think we're fine. I think it's fine.
Okay.
But it was like Brammer right tackle, Duncan right guard, Dazion Carroll at center, taking snaps there. Yeah, he's not perfect, of course. He's not really a center, but I mean, he does the job if you need it.
Right.
And then you have Cole Brown, who moved from left tackle to left guard because of Antarius Gray, and then you have John Turpin playing more reps at left tackle. But guys like Casey Marika, the transfer from was it a junior college? Because I saw that he enrolled at Northern Colorado.
Or I think he went to like a Montana something like a D1 AA, and then I think he went to like a Trinity Valley, I think a JUCO, and then I think we picked him up out of there if I'm not mistaken. On the JD is the Mean Green podcast is what it's called. They have I don't want to miss
Green Barbershop.
The Go Mean Green Barbershop. Yeah, so they were saying on there, I'm sure you caught it too, but they said that he had offers from a lot of people that we just didn't know he had offers from. So that's
24/7 did not update it, but he posted them. And it was like Charlotte, UTSA, UTEP, I think like Tulsa, but they're not in the Conference USA. Yeah. But Tulsa and teams like lower, like G5 schools, basically.
And with his addition, we got our first number ranked, a classic.
First time ever, so, number one ranked in Conference USA, and that feels really good. And another thing, they had their number one or number two recruit signee get out of his letter of intent, and that was very weird to see. Happened the day that Marika signed, so that was. And I followed him. He followed me right back. I was like, okay, maybe I don't know if they do something about it, but he's not with the team anymore, so it's kind of weird. But they also opened up a spot for us getting the number one place in the conference, and
so
that's really good.
Available is the question, yeah. But
I mean, he signed out his letter of intent, but that's all speculation. But the offensive line looked very good, and I think the offensive line will be another great season. Just losing Antarius Gray, it's big, but it's not that big. I mean, the depth behind those guys. I mean, the second string guys were just really good.
Right.
Guys like I just lost.
How did Blair look?
Gay Blair. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. He was at left guard from what I saw, and he looked very good. And Jackson.
Does he look like a freshman, Gabe Blair, or does he look like?
He does not look like a freshman. He's massive. I saw him the other day. He's massive, and that's really promising. They were saying he was the guy that was really standing out in fall camp, freshman wise. So that's really good to hear. And I think next year, because we don't have Mose is a senior, and Brammer's a senior, and I think that's just it. But he could possibly maybe get into a role next year, and that's really promising to see. Because he's going to be very good, no doubt.
Yeah. Very exciting. Well, gearing things over to the recruiting side, and how about Damien Smallwood coming back? That's good. I mean, I'm glad to have him back. And what are your thoughts on this 22 class? I mean, we got Page, Van Zant, and Smallwood, and Page, he just seems super juiced all the time, which is so exciting. Are you hearing any whispers of some other guys? I know Bruni, I think, or somebody wrote up, I don't know if it was Bruni, about I'm blanking on the name, but the
Bruce
23
Mitchell.
Yeah, Bruce Batman Mitchell or something.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
read that too. That was really good. It wasn't by Bruni. It was by another national, like locally
Yeah, yeah,
national
yeah.
or
So
24/7 writer.
that's cool. Obviously, that's in the 23 class. So, but are you hearing anything about the 22s?
Well,
Any like
David Oki, I think that's how you say his name.
yeah, yeah, the Terminator,
He
right?
he really liked his visit when he came here. So
Yeah.
that's maybe something to keep an eye on because he's 2022. That's maybe
Mm-hmm.
something to keep an eye on. I don't think he'll commit until closer to signing day. I just have that feeling. Maybe he
Yeah.
does commit. I mean, I would love
Yeah.
a little surprise commit, but I
Yeah.
just feel like he would commit more toward the end of the season. So I mean, the season just started, but you know
Yeah.
what I mean. And it was very interesting seeing Smallwood come back. I mean, I didn't really expect him to come back. I saw the Liberty offer
Yeah,
and I
me
was like,
neither.
well, he got the Liberty offer, he decommitted, and I was like, well, he's going to Liberty
Yeah.
then. But I guess that
Yeah.
something happened there. So
Vincent Page
that's
stayed
good.
on him though. He was doing a lot. He was doing the
Uh,
most with the recruiting. That was always good to see.
but that's
So
good for our class because you're getting
yeah.
guys like him is always good for the offensive line. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad we're bulking up on the two lines, with Vincent Page. With Vincent Page more like a linebacker.
Yeah.
I
Oh
know
yeah.
he's kind of like listed as a defensive end, but he doesn't even
Yeah.
play really defensive end that much.
Yeah.
He's
I
kind of
think
like
he
the
did
Marcus
it
brothers.
Nolan maybe, but yeah, I don't know, but I think either whether it's DN or linebacker, which it seems like his body type is maybe changing more to linebacker. That either way, I think he's a
Mhm.
solid pickup and he'll contribute at some point in
Yeah,
his career.
and keeping that Geyer pipeline. I mean, that we need that because
Yes.
Gabler
Yes.
last year, I didn't know
Yes.
Page was transferring back, but he's back this year.
Yes.
And if we could, now they do have some extremely talented 2023 guys. Jackson
Yes.
Arnold,
Yes.
Ryan Yates, those guys are so. I don't think we can land those, but if we could, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But getting guys in from Geyer and Ryan and Braswell
Yeah. If we can
would
get
be
like
because then
minimum one guy from Geyer or Orion per year,
per.
minimum, hopefully two,
Mhm.
or something, but just keeping that consistency, that relationship,
Well, and Denton County produces so much Division One
oh,
talent.
yes.
Argyle,
Yeah.
Ponder, Sanger. I mean, Louisville. I mean, Louisville technically in
Yes.
Denton County, so Louisville, all Flower
Oh,
Mound, all those towns
it's a
produce so
wrap.
much. And Denton County has, they won 2 state championships last year. They had
Yeah.
three in the semifinals. So
Yeah.
it just shows there's so much talent around us, and if we can't, like the SMU, they're the hometown hero.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it, but it's such a good
Hate
thing
it
because they're
too.
getting guys from Duncanville and
Mm-hmm.
illegally recruiting Trace Siggers,
Mm-hmm.
but getting guys from around that area is
Yeah.
something that didn't happen at SMU, but now it's starting to happen. I feel like if we can continue to win and recruit guys from our area, they start coming here. And
Yeah.
Jordan Hudson was from Garland, and Case Biddle was from Garland,
Oh
so
yeah.
it's right down the road from Highland Park. So you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. All righty, Miles. Anything else we need to talk on before we hop off here?
uh, I hope everybody comes to the game on September 4th. I hope COVID
Yeah.
doesn't do this crap again,
Yeah, me too.
because I don't want that because
I
I
don't
feel like we're
either.
fine. And Seth didn't really mention any vaccination rate. He just said it's working its way up. I was like, that means it's like 50%. So
Yeah.
I know
Cool.
I know they
What
can't
yeah.
really release it, but it just
Yeah.
hopefully it's on the rise more with the
Yeah, I think we're
vaccination
in a
rate, of course. But
yeah. I think we're in a good spot, hopefully, as
I
far as
think
all
we are
that
too.
goes.
And yeah, so
And yeah, so well, all right. I mean, I'm sure we'll at the very least hop on after the Northwestern State game to kind of talk about all the
mhm.
things that we see. And, if anything happens crazy between now and then, we may have to jump on to do a quick update too. But we'll see how the chips fall. But all righty, Miles, as always, thank you for jumping on and we'll talk soon and go Mean Green.
Go Mean Green.